There's no question that Brock Purdy is an elite quarterback. And it's a very good thing that the 49ers have him under center, ready to throw to these new receivers, Mike Evans and Christian Kirk, because although Kyle Shanahan is an elite play caller, he's had some mishaps throwing the football. How about this? At the Pro, the new bar in Palo Alto during Super Bowl week, I think everybody remembers Kyle Shanahan hitting the TV in the corner in front of quarterback royalty, Andrew Luck, no less, in attendance at the Pro. Awesome, awesome place. Should check it out this week for March Madness. Also, nobody will forget the time in San Diego when Kyle Shanahan was with Joe Staley throwing on a rooftop across the street.
You're gonna hit a kid.
Let's go.
Land on the balcony and stays
I think he hit a pizza oven. Anyway, Brock Purdy is the one that's going to be throwing passes, and Mike Evans and Christian Kirk have created a new look 49ers receiver room that still may not yet be done. The NFL draft will offer a chance for the 49ers to add new talent. But I am happy to report that the TV that Kyle Shanahan hit at the Pro in Palo Alto is still functional over in the corner. And, well, the bar is also very, very functional. It used to be the old Pro. I'm sure many of you remember it. Shut down for a period of time, and now Guillem here has reopened it as just the Pro. Mechanical Bull is still there, although just decorative. Burger, though, has taken a massive, massive step up. You've got the OG Burger and you've got the Pro Burger, which I tried, and it is absolutely spectacular.
I don't know what happened to the old school sports bar burger, which sucked. This is gourmet in a sports bar. This is like next level as far as some of these ingredients. They even have the crispy onions on top of it, high level cheese.
And it should be a good place to watch the 49ers and Brock Purdy throw more accurate passes to Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, and company. Now take a look at what the 49ers receiver room looks like right now. I think it's already a significant improvement over what they're running out there in 2025. Remember that the past two seasons, the 49ers have ranked number 32, dead last, and number 24, respectively, in average separation at the time of catch or incompletion. So they have not been getting open consistently against man coverage, essentially ever since they lost Brandon Aiyuk. So it was very, very important to get some separators, or at least a separator at the X wide receiver position, because that is the real gravity point of the receiver room. It is so important in Shanahan's scheme. They have Mike Evans there now, and Mike Evans, the separation numbers are still awesome. Still top 2, top 3 in the NFL. Plus, even when he doesn't exactly separate, he's one of the best contested catch guys we've ever seen at 6'5", 230 pounds. So health is going to be wealth for Mike Evans. He needs to stay available, but with that frame, that ability to win at the line of scrimmage, that ability to win in contested situations, Mike Evans, well, he's done something that only Jerry Rice has also done in NFL history. That is 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons. More on him in a little bit. Demarcus Robinson is still on this team at a relatively bargain rate. I mean, he's making well under $5 million a year. Robinson can play any of the 3 primary receiver positions, and we saw him explode against the Philadelphia Eagles in the postseason last year. I think he's an ideal backup because he can also back up the X. You don't want Robinson playing the X all season, but in a pinch, he can do it. He has done it for both the Rams and the 49ers, and I would slot him right behind Mike Evans. There's a lot of talk about Jordan Watkins, the second-year player, coming off of his rookie seasons, being the potential direct backup to Mike Evans. But I think if the season started today, then you'd see Jordan Watkins behind Demarcus Robinson on the pecking order. Still some polishing needing to be done so he can take the torch at that X receiver position in a pinch for the 49ers. Rest of this group, it is so important to have Ricky Pearsall, who was well above 2 yards per route run over the first 4 weeks last year before he suffered the PCL injury against Jacksonville. It is so important to let him focus on the Z, the flanker receiver position. The reason behind that is that, well, the X, that's split end, that is going to be a receiver who is on the line of scrimmage. He's not going to be coming in motion. He's not going to have any benefits of movement before the snap. He's just got to win mano a mano, usually with size or straight line speed against the opposition's best defensive back. Well, if you have Ricky Pearsall playing the Z, he doesn't have to face the best DB, and he can move around. He's obviously smaller than Mike Evans. I think he could do a lot of damage. Whereas Mike Evans is going to be great on the dig routes. He's going to be great on those in breakers. And obviously, he could run the 9. He can run those go patterns really well. Ricky Pearsall will run those little skinny posts. He'll run the corners. The route tree is very complementary to Mike Evans, and he's going to be coming from the Z position instead of the X for the 49ers. I think you really can unlock true productivity consistently from Ricky Pearsall when he's at this spot, which is another reason why the addition of Mike at the X so important for the 49ers. Then you've got the F, that is the slot, that is the third receiver, and that is Christian Kirk now in the driver's seat to be the starter for the 49ers. Now, any concern about Christian Kirk losing a step might have been extinguished in the wild card playoff round where Houston just beat the brakes off of Pittsburgh. Christian Kirk was clocked 3 times at above 19 miles an hour. Once at 19.1 miles an hour, once at 19.6 miles an hour, and once at over 20 miles an hour in that game. Those would have been 3 of the 4 fastest times for any 49ers ball carrier this season. So Christian, 29 years old, obviously past the prime of his career, but the 49ers are asking him to play a slot position, like a wide receiver 3 position. And obviously when they saw him go for 170 plus against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoffs, there is still some gas left in the tank. And what it does is it allows for Watkins and Cowing to develop at their own pace behind him. If all 3 of the top veterans are healthy, Evans, Pearsall, and Kirk, Watkins and Cowing, that's just like cherry on top. They don't even have to be the primary sub if Demarcus Robinson is still on the team. Now, this doesn't preclude the 49ers from drafting a receiver. We can go back to Omar Cooper. We can go back to Casey Concepcion. We could talk about all these guys that might be available. Concepcion, I think there's a higher likelihood that he's available at number 27 for the 49ers. A lot of people are saying, well, they're not going to draft a receiver now, to which I say the draft is a crapshoot. You have no idea what the 49ers are going to do or who's going to be available at number 27. And they can easily absorb another talented player in this room. In fact, if they do add another very talented player, maybe one of the 6 that we have listed here on the initial 53-man depth chart would be on the outside looking in. But remember, the guys get hurt, and it's very unlikely that all 6 of these guys that are pictured will be unscathed and ready to go at the 53-man roster cut down. So you can never have too much receiver depth. Either way, there is way more now for Brock Purdy to work with than there was in the 2025 season, or even 2024 when the 49ers ranked so poorly in terms of separation. And above all else, Mike Evans can obviously block his ass off, and he gives you that presence at X that will bring or shade the safety over toward him. That can open up lanes for the run game. Christian Kirk in 3 wide receiver sets, he's got a thick frame. He's 200 plus, 210 pounds. He is not your skinny little slot receiver. Christian Kirk can also block, and it would allow the 49ers to run out of 3 receiver sets. The perimeter run blocking for the 49ers has taken an alarming dip over the course of the past 2 seasons. That has led to declining rushing efficiency numbers for the 49ers. That in turn leads to poorer passing numbers because opposing pass rushes don't have to worry about the run game. So domino effect, we'll talk about the opposite of a doom loop, an upward spiral, if the 49ers can get that run game fixed. And I think that the key for that is the perimeter blocking that is so important in Shanahan's scheme. If the receivers can block, they help themselves. They help Brock Purdy in the pass game. So I cannot wait to see this happen, especially since Christian Kirk is from Arizona. Take a look at his unbelievable high school senior year stats. Now, Brock Purdy knew about Christian Kirk, who's older than him, and I think Brock even went to one of Christian Kirk's, I think it might have been a state championship game, and after the 49ers played Jacksonville in 2023, Brock pulled Christian aside on the field after the game and told him about how much of a legend he is in Arizona. The senior year stats, though, 159 carries, nearly 1,700 rushing yards, 25 rushing touchdowns, 61 catches, 1,200 receiving yards, 17 touchdowns. I mean, Christian Kirk, the 49ers have another Christian on the team who has gone 1,000, although that was in the NFL, not high school. It's Christian Kirk and Christian McCaffrey. And I haven't even talked about Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle and Kenyon Sadiq. I don't know who the 49ers might add as another weapon, but obviously the weapons for San Francisco much more well-rounded than they were in the recent 2 seasons. And that might even allow Kyle Shanahan to play quarterback for this football team. I mean, Mike Evans, he might have the catch radius with that height to even save a TV or a pizza oven if Kyle Shanahan is playing QB for the 49ers. Just kidding. Brock Purdy's the QB. Brock Purdy has a lot better receiver room than he did in the past. And, well, we could leave the throwing to Brock Purdy, but you should go check out the Pro in Palo Alto because it is March Madness now. And I think that there's nothing better than probably the premier sports bar down there on the peninsula, the Pro on Ramona in Palo Alto. Go check it out. And I'll leave you with a parting thought regarding the 49ers financial situation. As of right now, and I'm estimating a $2 million salary cap hit for Christian Kirk this year. We don't have the contract yet. But as of right now, the 49ers have a cumulative $10.5 million salary cap hit for their receivers. Brandon Aiyuk alone, his salary cap hit scheduled to be over $14 million this year. Obviously, 49ers will either release or trade him at some point here, and that number will change. And he's not playing for the team this year. That's the bottom line. So the cumulative cap hit of the 6 guys that we just talked about, less than the cap hit of Brandon Aiyuk, scheduled here for 2026. Remarkable stuff. We also have the Dre Greenlaw contract in. As I said, there are plenty of not likely to be earned incentives in Dre Greenlaw's contract, 1.5 million of them. Dre Greenlaw's contract worth up to $7.5 million, but the fully guaranteed amount only $6 million. So 1 year, $6 million for Greenlaw, $1.5 million on top of that of not likely to be earned incentives, and a salary cap hit of $3.55 million this season for Dre Greenlaw. So 49ers able to get him affordably, as we suspected. I estimate about $27.7 million of salary cap space in 2026 at this very moment. All right, don't hit any TVs or pizza ovens. I don't think it's going to be a problem for Brock Purdy and this new look developing 49ers wide receiver core.
Oh!